What's up, guys? XChronos here, and welcome to my first ever Pokemon Sun and Moon Theory video. The other day I did the reaction video to the Pokemon Sun and Moon trailer with Lillie and the not Lillie, Gladion and all the Lusamine and the Ultra Beast, and man, did it get more support than I've ever had on most of my videos. And I'm a really small channel, so that's surprising. So I don't know. I thought maybe you guys would like to see a new video from me, and I'm gonna do things a little differently. A lot of YouTubers I see do a lot of their theory videos post-editing. I'm actually doing mine in Photoshop, so I'll be able to edit things midway through if I want to, and show you guys all the cool stuff that I want to do in this video. And I'm gonna ramble on a lot because that's just who I am. I actually have a list of stuff right here I want to talk about. But yeah, so this video I really like to focus on three people in particular, three people who I think are extremely crucial to the storyline, and those would be Gladion, Lusamine, and our dear old Lillie right here. I like to focus on them specifically. If you see the pink line, that's because I'm in Photoshop. I'd like to start, and I'd like to use Lillie's connection with UB-01 the Ultra Beast, and even more so, the implications of Gladion having type Null. I'd like to go over all of these things in this video, so let's get started. First, I want to talk about the comparison between all three of these. Now, when I first saw these two people, more specifically Gladion right over here and Lusamine, of course, everyone made the connection that they're connected to Lillie. You can see the obviously similar features around here. You know, they all have the very distinct, hold on a second. They all have their own very distinct features in their green eyes. You could see they have the green eyes. They have this hair color that's all the same. In fact, I actually went and I checked the hair color, and with very similar differences, they're actually almost exactly the same. So yeah, they're very similar. That's obvious. It's easy to tell that they're basically gotta be related. And even more so when you look at your names. And I actually have to give a shout out to a person on pokecommunity.com who really helped me out with the names. So Charlie Brown was the person who posted it. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But if you look at their names, of course, we have the person who we've known for the longest time. We've had Lillie. Let me just make this darker and make it bigger and in a better type. I know it's very unprofessional. Lillie, of course, is a reference to, well, the flower, Lillie. It's kind of obvious, actually. And everyone was so surprised when when there was mentioned that the next Pokemon thing would have flowers in it. But that's not all. Gladion's name, well, the actual reference to the flower is not as like known by most people. There is a very distinctive thing in terms of what his name is a reference to. Hold on a second. I'm gonna have to change this. There we go. There it is. Sorry, I had to change like my text settings. Alright. So Gladion is actually a reference to. I'm just gonna move this over. Again, another interesting thing in Photoshop is, though, you can see all my mistakes, of course, and I don't mind. I'm a guy who makes mistakes. This is just my thinking. Gladion is a reference to the gladiolus flower, which I actually have a picture of right here. It's a very pretty flower, of course. It's kind of pinkish. as you can see right on right over here. I'm just gonna paste this in. There it is. This flower is the gladiolus flower. This is what Gladion is based on. Just like Lillie is based on the, well, you guessed it, the lily flower. Which actually, if you look at its color scheme, is actually, no, that's the wrong one. Is actually very similar to Lillie. That's also the wrong size. Oh. Oh, jeez. It's actually very similar to her in its color scheme because it's white and yellow. So, yeah, that's cool. Again, I'm going to make a lot of mistakes in this. I'm not going to be like super financial editing, doing this all in post. This is all my thoughts as I'm talking about them. Sleepy Jirachi, actually a YouTuber I watch, does a lot of this stuff right here. But Lusamine is very interesting because if you look, there's not really a Lusamine flower. And through all my knowledge, I couldn't find anything on it. However, there's an interesting parallel that people seem to, that was brought up to me, this art in this post I read. Look at, hold on, I'm just gonna get rid of these and get rid of you two. Let's focus on the main girl herself, Lusamine, right there. Lusamine is actually a portmanteau of the two parts of both of the child's name. We have the Lillie, which if you didn't know, is actually, well, no, not specifically Lily's. What's interesting, this is sort of the part where it's kind of a little bit. Lily's not specifically, you have actually Jasmine look very similar to Lily's, but if you look, we have the gladiolus flower, and we have a Jasmine, her own personal flower, which can look very similar to a Lillie. And I'm just going to make this red so it's easier on me when I do this. If you take the last part of each of their names, Lusamine, they actually come together to form Lusamine. That's actually really cool. I actually have the article up here in my other window, right? Yeah, here it is. And again, I'm not claiming this, but yeah. Lily's, and it's, the article says that all three are related to lilies and flowers, basically. So that's interesting enough. That's interesting in its own right, if you really want to take a second to think about it. I've taken a really long time to get to this part, and trust me, there is a ton more to go. So sit tight, people. We're in for some. We're in for a little bit of time to talk about this. Now, of course, that's not the only thing. Then, of course, there's the obvious connection, which everyone made the moment this was revealed, and that's the connection between Lillie and UB-01. Now, I'm actually just going to take my little brush tool here, and we're going to point out the similarities. So, first off, these two tendrils right here have a striking similarity to the... Oh, a second. Yeah, I should do this on an... Here we are. Just a new layer. Yeah. So, these tendrils right here bear a striking resemblance to these little hair things on Lily's body. That part's obvious. And, of course, you have the sun hat, which is... No, you know what? I'm going to make this... Actually, I'm going to make this blue. So, just so we can see the differences distinctly. We have these obviously connected. The sun hat in addition Lily's head. Furthermore, if you really look at Lily's body position, these legs down here sort of mirror the way UB-01's leg tendrils are put together. And finally, this whole cape gown thing in the back, you see down here? I'm gonna just delete this so you can see it a bit better. Could either be one of two things: the back of her hair or her dress. Either way, they both connect to this back part here. So with all of these, it's kind of easy to see exactly why people connect Lillie and UB-01. The resemblance is just too obvious. Furthermore, UB-01, according to its Pokedex entry on the website, is said to have movements resembling that of a little girl's. I'm reading specifically off the website right now. Evidence of UB-01's body is composed of a glass-like substance. However, it's constantly changing shapes, never settling on one. And it said, for some reason, its movements resemble that of a little girl. Now, that's interesting. Here's what people have sort of hypothesized. What if they are actually one and the same? Duh, duh, duh. Yeah, I'm not gonna go on the theory that Lusamine... Sorry, not Lusamine. That my little girl here, Lillie, is the same thing as our UB-01. Just make this a little bit bigger. I probably should have done this beforehand. This is all live editing, so I thought this was cool. If you guys want a different thing in the future, please tell me. But this is the way I'm most comfortable with because it doesn't require a lot of editing in the thing. So, are they in fact the same thing? My answer? Nope. Alright, I don't think Lillie is the same thing as UB-01. This is for a couple of reasons. For the one hand, I want what I really want to focus on in terms of this is that Lillie, while she may look like UB-01, if my theory about how this all comes together is correct, they can't be the same person. The reason for this is that I believe... Long layer... Nope. There we go. I believe that these three people are related, as I said in the beginning. They all have the same traits. But I believe the exact relation is this. Gladion, and Lillie are siblings with Lusamine as their mother. These are the exact specifications I believe. Which would mean that Lillie has been around for a long time. And if they were the same thing, I'm pretty sure Lusamine would know. That doesn't make any sense to me that they're actually the same thing. There's way too much evidence that supports they are, but I have a different theory, and I think it's one that's a little bit more interesting, but more on that in a bit. Right now I want to take a relationship between these two characters. So, we have Gladion, who is a member of Team Skull. We know this. This is obvious. There. Yeah, Team Skull. Right there. He is a member of Team Skull. Meanwhile, we have Lusamine, who is a member of the Aether Foundation. Now, this would be fine if my theory weren't that they were related. Because if you look at them, they're two opposite forces. The Aether Foundation and Team Skull are enemies. So what does this mean? Well, I can think of a few possible situations where this could all make sense. And I'm going to go through them all right now. So, how does our boy Gladion fit in with Team Skull? Well, if you have to point out, he's an enforcer. Specifically, on the website, when it talks about Gladion in the dynamic of Team Skull, it says this man lends his strength to Team Skull as an enforcer. He places a high value on being strong in Pokemon battles. Now, he's not an admin like Plumera is. He's not an actual member of the organization. This is why he doesn't actually have the Team Skull mark anywhere on him. I don't think a lot of people notice this, but if you look, there's no Team Skull mark. So, there are two routes I could see this going. He's obviously... So, you can go Route 1, which I'm going to call the undercover route. And the way this route works is that here's what I imagine happened. So basically what would go down is we have Gladion originally is a member of Aether Foundation. And then through either but unfortunately then UB-01 comes into existence. Then we have I should probably do bullet points. There we go. UB-01 comes into existence. Then type null is created. Then we have a little scene I like to call Gladion goes undercover in Team Skull. Now, the reason for this will become clear as I explore sort of the origins of UB-01, because I have a theory on that too. But first of all, I like to point out the reason for this timeline. This timeline is interesting, because you notice I point out that UB-01 comes before type null. The reason for that is why I think type null even exists, and that's going to be a huge mind twist. But enough on that. Let's go on to our other route, the second route. Now, this is the route which is called the debunked route. No, not debunked. What's the word I'm looking for? Quit route. Sorry, no, yeah, rebellion route. There it is, the rebellion route. That's a good name for it. So the rebellion route goes under the mindset that all the same things originally happened the way they did. We have Gladion. That's a little bit too small. Let's just fix that. There we go. So we have our boy Gladion, member Aether. We have UB-01. We have type null. Then we have Gladion steals type null and joins Team Skull. I just realized type null Team Skull, that kind of rhymes. That's kind of cool. But okay, so now we have the two routes I believe our Gladion's character could take. Now, of course, why is the reason for any of these? Why do I assume that there's some sort of hidden connection between all of this? Well, it has to do with something very interesting, which I don't think a lot of people have actually considered. Why does type null exist? Yes, type null is, of course, a Pokemon that was artificially created to be able to battle legendaries. But if you really think about it, the exact wording of why it exists is that it's to complete a certain mission. that was in need of a Pokemon powerful enough to rival those of Pokemon often spoken of in mythology. The only reason I could see it for a Pokemon this strong would be a battle legendary Pokemon, but that doesn't really fit in with our bad guys theme, does it? And besides, I don't think Team Skull will be smart enough to create Titanol. Titanol was obviously has a connection to Lillie, UB-01, and Mama Lusamine. And it's a big one, so I'm not going to get into that. First off, I want to say that this is just, I'm going to put this in huge text, just so you all understand. Speculation. This is all just speculation. None of this is confirmed. I don't have any evidence for any of this. Now, let's get back into this. So, let's start off with a little story I like to call... Man, I gotta name these layers or something, because I have having so much trouble finding which one I need. There you are. A little story I like to call How the Flower Family Broke. So, let's assume, like I have been, that we have our three main protagonists. We have Lillie, we have Gladion, and we have Lusamine. Let's assume they all work for the Aether Corporation. The Aether Corporation's goal, of course, is to protect Pokemon from Team Skull. That much is obvious. Now, Gladion definitely seems like the rambunctious kid type. That's sort of obvious. Just look at the guy. He's definitely a rambunctious kid. But Lillie seems much more innocent. Don't you guys think? Like, look at Lillie's description on the website from the little we know about her. The young girl is about the same age as your character. She's not fond of making Pokemon battles, but she loves reading and has devoured many books. I believe that she was a scholar, and that would make sense. Whereas, if you look at our boy Gladion, he's very much a battler. So I don't think they would have gotten along very much. But he'd definitely be an older brother to protect his little sister. We could see this from his video reveal in the Sun and Moon trailer, where he says, "Don't have your Pokemon fight; they'll only get hurt." The Aether Corporation's goal is to protect Pokemon that have been hurt. Now, there's another piece to this puzzle, and that's the connection between UB-01 and Lillie. And I'm finally going to get into this, and this is going to be really wild. I believe that the connection between UB-01 and Lillie is that they're mirrors. What do I mean by this? If you watch my reveal in the trailer, I sort of go a little bit into this, and I'm trying to word this correctly. I can't even think of a story where this has really been done. I know there actually is one, and the best thing I can come up with, sort of, is that it's in Bleach, it's like Ichigo and his inner hollow. There's some sort of deep connection between these two. And the way I want to try and describe this connection briefly. So, let's take a second. Let's assume that Lillie and Lusamine were doing an experiment. Lillie wanted to be in the experiment because of her love for Pokemon. Lillie was trying to create a new kind of Pokemon. One that would sort of act like a defender. A Pokemon defender. And she used Lillie, who volunteered, as an experiment. Now, Lillie's goal was they wanted to create something that wasn't just a Pokemon. They wanted something that was more than just a Pokemon. Because we know UB-01 is its own thing. The Ultra Beasts are a unique form of life. So, UB-01 was a mistake. Oh, by the way, I want to go into this. The other reason I'm pretty sure UB-01 and Lillie are not the same person, or another thing that would prove it, the hat. This sort of is like a thing, and they're actually the same person. Is that the hat? If this was just a mistake, why would it also wear the hat? But I'll get into that. I don't think they're the same person. Anyways, Lillie, Lusamine in an experiment. Blah, blah, blah. So, the experiment was to create a new form of life using life energy. To create a mixture of Pokemon and people. Something that had a Pokemon's power, but a human's sort of, I guess would say mind or morality. So, the experiment was to use Lillie as a base to create something new. And I know this sounds really out there, but just lead with me on this. So, the experiment fails, and UB-01 is created. Now, here's where things take a little bit of an interesting turn. The experiment created some sort of a symbiosis between the two, where Lillie and UB-01 are linked. The link will never be broken. They can sort of sense each other's pain or something like that. And the reason this makes so much sense to me is that UB-01 moves like a little girl. So it obviously has some connection to Lillie. It looks like Lillie. But I don't see them being the same person. Because if they were the same person, then that would mean that Lillie would have no connection to Lusamine. Of course. Actually, I'm just thinking about this now. The other way you could go about this is that UB-01 saw Lusamine. It was the only person she knew because she created it. And then she took what she knew as human features and created Lillie. But still, that also leaves a big question, why does it move around like a little girl? It would make much more sense for UB-01 to have come after Lillie already existed. I'm sticking with that. Okay, so they have a symbiosis connection thing. And now, UB-01 goes out of control, out of Lillie's fear. Because when we look on the Pokemon website, when it talks about the Ultra Beasts, it says that, no, it has a survival instinct of something. And it's also constantly changing shapes. This makes me think that UB-01 is unstable-ish. I believe there's definitely a connection somewhere. I'm trying to word this correctly. This is going to be a long video, but on all my videos? Like, really? So, connection, Ultra Beasts. So, UB-01 escapes. This experience causes Lillie to become terrified, and she runs away. Now, here's where things take a good turn. Gladion. This is where the two separate paths come in. I remember I said that Gladion was a guy who would probably love his sister. Well, he would either do some... Well, he would be really upset at what happened to his sister. She was sort of in this accident. And she would be angry at Lusamine for putting her in such danger. However, Lusamine would understand something. That they created something far out of what they could control. And so they would need to create something that could battle it. The result? Type Null. Type Null is the antithesis to UB-01. They're meant to battle each other. That's why UB-01 was said to get the powers of a mythical Pokemon, because it's the strongest thing in existence. And UB-01, which has unimaginable powers, needs to be taken down by something that's strong. So instead of taming a legendary, Lusamine, with her brilliant mind, went along creating something that she knew could. And now here's where our boy Gladion comes in. Gladion, as a strong trainer, would be the only one to wield Type Null. But, depending on how Gladion would react to his sister being in this experiment, he would either do one of two things. One, he would go undercover in Team Skull. Why undercover in Team Skull? Well, in Team Skull, he would be keeping watch to make sure they didn't hurt his sister. And also, he would keeping watch to see if they did anything with Type Null. We don't know Team Skull's goal yet. We assume it has something to do with money, but undercover in such an organization, he could relay their actions back to the Aether Corporation. But the more likely scenario is that he was angry and stole Titanol and joined the Aether Corporation. Why? Mostly to piss off his mom, but also to stop the Aether Corporation from doing whatever evil things they were doing. So, in the end, we have our three competitors. Or three characters. Lusamine, Lillie, and Gladion. The mother of two children. The creator of a monster. The creator of a savior. And the central piece to this entire puzzle. Who are you, Lusamine? What are your intentions? What do we know about you? That's all for today. I sort of went on a big rant there. The other thing I wanted to mention before we go is that it's kind of cool. I mentioned this in a video that the Aether Corporation and Team Skull are the two teams because Skull is death, Aether is sort of the heavens. It's also the fifth element in alchemy, so that's more of the alchemy connection to this entire thing with the sun and moon, because that was a big thing. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to see more theory videos from me, or if you want more concise theory videos, because this is really long-winded, that's sort of how I think. I always ramble. So if you guys want to see more from me, make sure to hit that like button. Also, leave me a comment down below if you want more properly edited stuff, because this was really off the walls. But I think it has a little bit of charm to it. But yeah, I'm XChronos, signing off.